In this video, we're going to look at getting familiar with the Linux shell. So we're going to create files and directories and do some basic administrative tasks. Before we begin, so we're going to use our CyberOps workstation for this. So log into your CyberOps workstation as analyst, which I did, so I'm there. And then we want to open a terminal window. First thing we're going to do is one of the things Linux has is what it calls man pages or manual pages. And it's simply just like Linux's help system. If you want to learn more about a command or the form of the command or commands that are available, you can use the man pages to find out what the command does, what are some of the options of the command, what's the syntax. We're actually just going to start with finding out more about the man command or the manual pages. So we'll use the man command to find out more about man. In order to do that, we type man space man and hit enter. And what comes up is information about the man command, right? So the name is man. It told you just what I told you, an interface to the online reference manuals. Synopsis. So we have a name section, a synopsis section. This gives us some of our options for the command. If you hit a space, you start scrolling in a page by page, or you can use the up and down arrows, okay, to learn a little bit more. Next, we're going to look to see what the CP command does. So we know what man is. Let's hit Q. Let's find out more about the CP command in Linux. So if I do man space CP, what do I find out the function of CP is? The function of CP is to copy files and directories. I also discover that I'll have some options which will be down here. The form of the command is source to destination, so CP, what's the file, where am I going to copy it to? Okay. Next we want to do is, so we know what CP does. We're going to copy files or directories, sorry. I can hit space to look through it and see what some of my options are. If I want it to prompt me before overwriting, I would use a -I as an option. So CP space -I space the source file I want to copy, file or folder or directory, to where I want to copy it to. And we go ahead and get Q, so those are some of my options. Now if I want to find out what PWD does, what command am I going to use? I would go ahead and use man space PWD to find out what the purpose or what PWD does. PWD prints the name of the current or working directory. So if I want to find out where I'm at, let's say I've been working around this terminal, I might even be remotely logged in and I've been working through something, I'm like, where am I right now? I can type PWD to find out. So let's hit Q and type PWD, and I find out that I'm in the home/analyst directory. If for some reason I wasn't in the home/analyst directory, I could change directory to the home analyst directory using the cd command, and we'll do more of that in a little bit, so I won't do that right now. Let's go ahead and list the analyst directory. If I do just a plain ls, so ls will list, notice this is my list. But do I know, are these files or folders here? Or are they, another word for it is directories. Are these files or directories? I don't really know. So if I do an ls space -l or a long listing, I do ls space -l, and now I can see, and actually I'm probably going out of bounds on this particular lab demonstration because I think there's a whole nother one. I think it goes more in depth into this. Anyway, moving along. This D here, indicates to me that this is a directory. So anytime I see the directory, if I just see a dash, here, that means it's a file. So we have a desktop directory, a downloads directory, a lab.support.files, and a second _drive directory. So now let's go ahead and we're going to make some folders or make some directories. The command for that is mkdir, like make directory. We're going to make a PSYOPS folder 1, 2, and 3. So mkdir space PSYOPS _folder 1 and hit enter. Now if you just hit the up arrow, it's going to bring you back to that command. So we're going to do a folder 1, a folder 2, and a folder 3. We did folder 1. So hit the up arrow to bring the mkdir command back up. Change the 1 to a 2, hit enter. Do the same thing for folder 3 and hit enter. Now let's see if we've actually made our directories or made our folders. So if we do an ls-l, we have now made our 3 folders or directories in home/analyst. So now let's go ahead and move to the SciOps folder 3 or the SciOps folder 3 directory. So I do that using the cd commands, cd space. You could do the whole path, which would be /home/analyst/SciOps_folder3, or since I'm already in the home analyst directory, I can just do cd space SciOps_folder3, and it will change me into that directory. So your lab shows you the whole path, and I just showed you a little bit shorter way of doing it because I knew I was already in the home analyst directory. So now you're in the SciOps folder 3 directory. Something to notice or something to note is that the $sign here indicates it's a regular user, so your privilege level is just a regular user privilege. If you'd see a pound or a hashtag, that indicates that you're a root user or you have an escalated privilege. Now we're going to navigate, or we're going to do the challenge. We're going to navigate actually back to our home command. So if I do our home directory. So if I do a cd space tilde, hit enter, that should bring us back to our home analyst directory. Let's double check. pwd, and we are back in our home/analyst directory. So now we want to make a directory or a folder called SciOps4, but we want to put it inside the SciOps folder 3 folder. So we'll do mkdir space home/home/analyst no list /SciOps_folder3 /SciOps_folder4. Assuming I typed everything correctly, and I did, then we should see that. Now if I do an ls-l, so now I'm in home analyst. If I want to see what's in the SciOps folder 3 folder, I'll move my cursor, do an ls-l space home/analyst /SciOps_folder3 and hit enter. And I should see the SciOps folder 4. ls-l SciOps_folder3. I just wanted to show you could do it both ways. So far we've been using full path, except for that time I shortened it just to show you because they keep using the full path. You can use relative path, which just means I'm taking in I'm not starting at root. This slash here, right before the H, indicates I'm starting at root, going to home, going to analyst, and going to the folder. If I just want to go to the folder and I'm already in home analyst, then I just need to type the folder. So in the first part here, we did the long listing. We listed it and we did the full path. We started at root and made our way through. And then down here, I just did it. So am I forking? Is that what that's in the lab? I'm forking away from the lab? I digress. Down here, I use the relative path, which says I didn't need to have this part because I'm already in home/analyst. So I can just list the SciOps folder that's currently in home analyst. And regardless, the point is we did correctly make folder 4 in folder 3. All right, what I just did with the listing of the SciOps folder, the first time I used the full path, the second time I used what we call the relative path. That's kind of what we're delving into next. So the full path is anytime I'm starting in the root directory to type out the path. Otherwise, relative path is if I'm starting, say, with my directory or not starting with the root directory. So the first time I started with root and listed it. And the second time, because I'm already in the home analyst directory, so if I do the pwd to see again that I'm in the home analyst directory, I didn't have to include that part, so I was able to just list SciOps folder 3. And so to understand more about full versus relative paths, we need to understand a little bit about the dot and the dot dot directories. The dot directory keeps track of the current directory, and the dot dot is the parent directory. We don't see them, so when we do an ls-l, a regular one, we're not seeing them. What we need to do in order to see the dot and the dot dot directory is to do an ls-la. So if we do ls space dash la slash home slash analyst slash psyops underscore folder and hit enter. Sorry, psyops underscore folder 3. There we go. Now we see our dot and our dot dot directories. We'll deal a little more with them a little bit later, but the dot indicates, in this case, the two dots, one dot indicates the current directory, and dot dot indicates keeping track of the parent directory. After this section, we'll deal with hidden folders and files, which is a little different, and they begin with a dot. Okay, so we've got our dot and our dot dot directory. Now we're going to change our directory to our psyops folder 3. So we'll cd for change directory. We're going to use the full path, so we start with root, that's our slash, home slash analyst slash psyops underscore folder 3. Move my cursor again. Now we're in the psyops folder 3 directory. Let's type cd space dot for change directory. And it's just change directory to current directory. So what really happens? Nothing happens. The command interpreter just changed the directory to the current directory itself, which is where we're at. But if we do a cd space dot dot, what's going to happen? If we say dot dot represents my parent directory, and I'm going to change directory, so I'm using cd space dot dot, I'm going to change to the parent directory, what's going to happen? Let's find out. cd space dot dot, enter. So now we move from the psyops. I'm going to use this full path here to kind of demonstrate it. We were in the psyops folder 3 directory. Then we changed directory to the parent directory. The parent directory for psyops folder 3 is the analyst directory. Okay. So let's do it again. What's going to happen? So if we do a cd dot dot again, what's going to happen? Change directory to the parent directory. What's the parent of our analyst directory? The parent directory is home. So, and we've moved to the home directory. I don't know why, but I keep this window like this, and there's no reason why it can't be bigger. Let's do it one more time. What do you think is going to happen? If I do a cd space dot dot, then what's going to happen? We change to the root directory. So now we're at root. So even if we go back to our full path, we start off in the psyops folder. We moved to the parent directory of psyops, which put us in analyst. We moved from the analyst directory to the parent directory of analyst, which is home. We moved from the home directory to its parent directory, which is the root directory. So what happens if we do a cd dot dot again? So if we hit the up arrow, and it brings up the cd dot dot, and we hit enter, nothing happens. Why is that? Because root, or this slash, indicates the root of the file system. There is no higher level. That is the highest level, so we can't move up. It has no parent directory in this case. Okay, so we looked at, let's see, creating files, creating folders, navigating through directories. Now we're going to redirect outputs. We're going to use the echo command to do that. Let's start first. We're going to go back to our home directory. We could use the tilde, or we're going to do cd space slash home slash analyst without an E. I can spell analyst. Now we're back to our home directory. And we're going to echo a message to the terminal first. So we use the echo command. This is a message echoed to terminal. And hit enter, and you see it comes out, this is a message echoed to terminal. Now let's say this was, I don't know, a message I was really interested in keeping for some reason. So instead of echoing it to a terminal, I'm going to redirect that output to a file. So we're going to create a file with that has that text in it. So I'm going to hit the up arrow so I don't have to type it again. Then echo, this is a message echoed to the terminal. Let's use the greater than symbol, space, greater than, space, now the file that we're going to redirect this text to. We call it sum text underscore file.txt and hit enter. And notice there was no output. That's normal, right? Because we didn't echo it to terminal, we redirected it to a file. So we want to see if it actually created the file, and then we want to see if that file has our text in it like we wanted. So if I do an ls-l space sum underscore text underscore file.txt and hit enter, we do see that our text file is there. We know it's a file and not directory because there's no D here next to this R. Now let's see, we use the cat command to make sure that what we wanted in the message is in fact in the message. So if we use cat and then the file we want to open or read, some text, not time, text file.txt, and we see that this is what was saved in the text file. Now we'll create another message using echo and send it to our text file again. So we'll do echo space, this is a different message. We'll just type this as a different message. And then we'll redirect, this is our different message, to some text file.txt. And so we sent that there. Now, what do we think is going to happen? Let's find out what happened here. Cat some text file.txt. And what you notice is our original message is gone. Our new message actually completely overwrote the message that was originally in some text file. So if we don't want it to overwrite, we just want to add to it, then we want to append. So we want to redirect and append it. We'll use two greater than symbols then. So let's add a line of text to our sum text file, but make sure that this message stays intact. We echo, this is another line of text to be appended, period. Okay, and then we redirect, but we use the append, right? We use two greater than so it knows to append it, space sum underscore text underscore file.txt and hit enter. Now let's hit the up arrow until we get to our cat command we've used before so we don't have to type it again. And now let's view our sum text file to make sure now that we have two lines of text in there. So cat space sum underscore text underscore file.txt and hit enter. Now we see that we have our original message and then our second message has been added or appended into the file rather than overwriting it. So that's good. We keep our original stuff the way it's supposed to be. Now let's start. I alluded to it earlier about the dot preceding a file or a directory, meaning that it's going to be a hidden file or directory. Let's start working with hidden files next. Let's do an ls-l to review what we see if we just do the usual ls-l. So what do we see? We see our SciOps folders, our desktop, our downloads, lab support files, and second drive, and then our text. These are, folders or directories. And then this is our sum text file we just created. But this is actually not everything that's contained in the home analyst directory. So how do I want to see, what do I want to use in order to see what's being contained in our everything that's in our home analyst directory? We want to use the A option. So we do ls-la. Now if we notice, this now shows us our hidden files that start with dot. It also shows hidden directories. So whole directories can be hidden and files can be hidden. This here, aside from being blue, indicates to me, this D right here indicates to me it's a directory. The period here, or the dot, aside from not seeing it when we first did our listing without the A, the dot indicates to me that it's a hidden directory. And then this here is a file, for example, indicated by not having a D or specifically having a dash next to the R. The dot in front of it indicates that it's a hidden file. So both files and directories can be hidden. And just go ahead and look through here and say, list some of the directories and files that are being hidden right now in home/analyst. So let's figure out then a little more about the ls command. I just used ls-la, but what does ls-la really do? How do we find out? We're going to use our man pages or our manual page. So if we do man space ls, we find that our -a that we used says do not ignore entries starting with a dot. Now what's kind of interesting is we could do a -A, which means list almost everything. And it means do not list the implied dot and dot directories. So if I hit a Q and I just scroll up here, I know I'm diverging off the lab a little bit here, but you notice when we first did our ls-la, we had these implied directories. Now let's do an ls-l capital A and hit enter. And what do you think is going to happen? If we scroll up, our implied directories aren't being listed anymore. We don't have our dot and our dot directories. Just something interesting. Now let's move on to copying, deleting, and moving files. So the first part, we're going to copy our sum text file, and we're going to put it in the PsyOps folder 2. So cp space sum underscore text underscore file dot txt. So that's our file we're going to take, and we're going to move it to the PsyOps folder 2. So cp for copy, sum text file dot txt, PsyOps folder. Ooh, and I almost typed it wrong. PsyOps folder 2. And hit enter. So now what should have happened is we should have taken our file that was originally in Home Analyst, our sum text file that was in Home Analyst, and we should have put it in Home Analyst PsyOps folder 2. Let's see. Let's go ahead and list the PsyOps folder 2 to see if it's there. So we do an ls space PsyOps underscore folder 2. And hit enter. We see our sum text file. Now here's something interesting. Let's hit the ls command here. Hit it, type it, sorry. And notice that our sum text file is also in our original home directory where it was. Remember, because we didn't use a move, we used a copy. So we copied sum text file and we placed it in the PsyOps folder 2, which means the original is still in our home directory. And let's go ahead and next part, we're going to delete a file or directory. So the first part is we're going to delete a file. So we're going to remove our sum text file. We use the rm command, sum text file.txt to remove it. Now if I do an ls-l, I don't see sum text file anymore. So here we listed it. Sum text file was there. Here we use the remove command or rm to remove it, and it's no longer here. Now we can also remove directories, but in order to remove a directory, we need to do it recursively. So we're going to remove the PsyOps folder 1 directory. It's here. We know it's directory by D, by the D in front of the permissions. So in order to remove a directory, we have to use the -r for recursive. And that will delete all the files inside the directory along with the directory. So rm space -r, PsyOps underscore folder 1, right? That's what we were supposed to get rid of? No, or 2. Oh, I better look. Folder 1. Enter. Now if we do an ls-l, we no longer see folder 1. So we've copied, we've made directories previous to this, right? We've made folders and directories. We've copied a file. We've removed a file, we've removed a directory. Now let's move. Instead of using copy, let's move. So we're going to move the PsyOps, or I'm sorry, we're going to move the sum text file. We deleted it. Remember, we deleted the sum text file from our home directory. Now we're going to move sum text file from the PsyOps folder 2 to this home directory. MV for move space PsyOps underscore folder 2 /sum underscore text underscore file dot txt. Now we can use the dot to represent our home directory. So this says move the sum text file that's in SciOps folder 2. We're going to put a dot here. We're going to move it, whoops, not a comma, a dot. We're going to move it to our home directory, or our current directory. And we're currently in home. So move the SciOps, or move the sum text file from SciOps 2 to the current directory with our dot. Hit enter. Now if we do an ls-l, we see a sum text file. But now, as we see our sum text file in our current directory, right, ls-l. Let's list the SciOps folder 2 directory, ls-l, and it should not be there any longer because we moved it instead of copying it. ls-l space SciOps underscore folder 2. And yet, that file is no longer there. We've moved it from folder 2 into our home directory, or the current directory that we're in. Lastly, we can also move whole directories or folders into other directories. So we're going to move SciOps folder 3 into SciOps folder 2. mv space SciOps underscore folder 3 / space SciOps underscore folder 2. I gotta spell things right. Not SciOps, SciOps. So from folder 3, we're gonna move folder 3 to folder 2. And hit enter. Now if we do an ls-l on our current directory, which is the home analyst directory, and we hit enter, we no longer see folder 3, right? But we should, if we list SciOps folder 2, we should see SciOps folder 3. So let's do an ls-l SciOps underscore folder 2 and hit enter, and folder 3. So folder 3 has been moved into folder 2. And that is kind of the end of this one. Getting used to, I know that a lot of us are used to our GUI and our graphical interfaces, but getting used to the command line is really useful. Some things can be done much more quickly in the command line. It's also super useful for remote access type things, to type things in real quickly and manage things remotely. That's it for this one.